Welcome to the Billy Slater podcast. Round one is run and done for season 2027. We are off and racing. And boy, isn't there some storylines to come out of the first week of the NRL. Billy, how are you?
I'm well, Salty. Good to have the footy back on our televisions. Good to get to a couple of games and some surprises. Some teams that performed in the trials that didn't perform in round one, and vice versa, and plenty of points scored. It had a bit of everything. Golden points, the whole lot.
Now, I want to just throw two little comments at you and see your thoughts straight away before we get into some of the issues. One, trial form probably in the end doesn't mean too much. And the second one, and we're getting it all over, whether it be social media or when you run into people, round one overreactions, whether it be positive or negative for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of the above. I wouldn't say trial form means nothing, but you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to be... You can't get overexcited about trial form. And the other thing is if you trial well... the complacency, the confidence that can flow into complacency off the back of trialling. Are you going better? Do you think you're going better than you actually are? You look at Parramatta and the Titans. They were the two form teams of the trials, and they both got beaten by 50 points. They're disappointing round one performers. So who knows? We might just see a bounce back. It might have just been one of those things where they just got a little bit too far ahead of themselves and they just needed that little bit of a reality check of where they're at.
Which is why, when you look at so much can go into round one, you've got all this information that's come in from a 4-month preparation and 6 months if you didn't play finals the previous year, and you got to try to put it all into place in 80 minutes. This is why I look at now Craig Bellamy's record of 24 from 24 round one. It's remarkable when you think about how much of a lottery the opening round can be.
Yeah, that's incredible. It just goes to show the preparation and not just the week preparation leading into round one. It's a 3 or 4 month preparation that goes into it. You got to be nice and fit. You've got to have a good grasp of your footy. And then you've got to have the mental aspect to go and put it all together without having too much practice in that environment. The footy, the game environment is very different to your training environment. And to turn up in round one and perform, we're talking 25 years. 25 years ago was the last time the Melbourne Storm tasted defeat in round one. Craig Bellamy has never turned up in round one and tasted defeat, and he's been coaching for 23 years, I think, 24 years
24
maybe.
Now, yeah.
That's an incredible achievement. So the Melbourne Storm, it's a part of that club now, and it's a part of the legacy. And I'm sure the current players would feel that little bit of pressure and responsibility to continue that legacy of that part of the club.
Yeah, an amazing performance from them on Thursday night. Let's look at the game on Sunday afternoon, and it was a high-scoring game between the Rabbitohs and the Dolphins. First up, my co-commentators Cam Smith and Jonathan Thurston yesterday at Suncorp were in awe of what they were seeing from Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell to kick off the season. That was just brilliant from them, wasn't it, Billy?
Yeah, and it's probably fair to say that the Rabbitohs have underachieved over the last couple of years, and it's a hard game to play when you don't have your full complement of squad members to choose from. Excuse me. And it's a really hard game to play when you're not super fit. Cody Walker looks as fit as I've seen him for a while. Latrell Mitchell looks as fit as I've seen him for a while. Dave Fifita looks as fit as I've seen him for a while. And for different reasons. Like Dave Fifita's had 3 ankle surgeries in 12 months last year. Like that's, for a 120 kilo guy, it's really hard to keep yourself fit or get yourself fit when your body isn't holding up. It looks like he's rectified those problems. He's had a good preseason under Wayne Bennett. I thought even before round one that they were a team that could really do something this year, and their round one performance hasn't changed my mind. If anything, they've just reassured that they're a really dangerous footy team for anyone to come up against.
So yesterday's game was the first time since round 18, 2024 for the Rabbitohs, that Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, Jack Whiten and Cam Murray all on the field the same time together.
Yeah, they're big signings. They're marquee players. They're their experienced players, and you need your big name players to play well. You need your big name players to be on the field, and then you need them to play well. And they're putting it all together. And let's not forget the fact who their coach is.
Yep.
He was at the Rabbitohs, and it looked like Cody Walker was playing his best football under Wayne Bennett. We all hear about how the players talk about Wayne Bennett, and I just think they're going to be a really happy group. It's going to be a great environment down there at South Sydney, and I think if they can all stay on the field, they can beat anyone. They can beat anyone. They've got a middle forward pack that will work hard. They don't need to do anything special because they've got special players out wide that will take care of all of that. They scored 40 points with ease on the weekend, so that's going to be a regular for them to score plenty of points. It's just that fundamental side of the game. They get that right, they'll have some fun this year.
Now, there was a moment here in the game, Billy, and Cam Smith was blowing up. I think I might have said one or two things in the commentary box as well. Alex Johnston grabbed one try just before half-time to get within one now. That's try number 211. So he's one behind the great Ken Irvine record. And then there was a 4-on-none in the second half, and Latrell Mitchell had unmarked Alex Johnston on his outside, and he went himself, and everyone was crying for him to pass. I suppose it's team first, game first, isn't it? But it could have been a real moment yesterday for Alex Johnston. I think Wayne Bennett wants this record to be over and done with, and I think Alex Johnston does as well.
No free try, Salty. I played with Cameron Smith, and I can guarantee you he would never have given up a free try. So I actually agree with what happened. I saw it as well, and I thought, wow, he could have passed to Alex Johnston, but that's not the game. Would you want to break the record with a free try, with a token try, a complimentary try from your teammate? No way. He scored too many wonderful tries, Alex Johnston, and he's going to get the record. It'll happen at some stage, whether it's this coming week against the Roosters or the following week. He's going to get the record, and I think he deserves to get it his own way. I actually probably wouldn't accept it. I would have thrown it back to him if he'd give it to me. But I like the way Latrell just played the game. Hey, this is the try that I was going to score, and I'll score it. He'll get his chance, Alex Johnston, and it's going to be a wonderful moment for the game.
Yeah, so you're saying Cameron Smith, he was not going to give up any of the 48 tries that he scored throughout his career?
Never. I could guarantee it. No way. He even did his AC joint scoring a try one day. Stay out of the in-goal, Smithy. You stay in your lane.
That's it. It's going to be something else, isn't it, when the record finally does happen? I know a lot of the talk is about Wayne said yesterday that he doesn't want fans running on the field to respect the game and so forth. But whenever it happens, and if it does happen this week against the arch enemy, the old rivals, the Roosters, it'll be a special moment for the game.
It'll be an incredible moment, and Ken Irvine's held the record for such a long period of time, and Alex Johnston's been a great player through his whole career. Daniel Tupou's not that far away. I think he's on 180 tries as well. So there's some players in our game. Our game is becoming. We see how many points were scored on the weekend. Even the Golden Point game, there was nearly 60 points scored in the whole game. So there's a lot more tries being scored now because of the flow of play and the speed of the game, and we're seeing a lot of these wingers accumulate 2-3 tries a game. So I love it. Alex Johnston's been a great player. He's well respected within the whole rugby league community, and it's going to be a great moment when he does break that record. And I look forward to seeing him one day and congratulating him on it.
Hey, Billy, you just touched on something there about the amount of points that were scored. You mentioned the game on Saturday night, the Golden Point game between Manly and Canberra. We'll talk about that game specifically very soon, in particular Ethan Sanders and his performance. But yesterday afternoon as well at Suncorp, the humidity rule was put in place with 93% humidity and constant rain throughout. But yet in both of those games where there was quite heavy rain and constant rain, we saw plenty of points scored. It's almost as if the players these days, not much fear to use the footy despite the conditions.
It's incredible. 70 points scored yesterday, nearly 60 in the Manly Raiders game. There were 60 points scored, Sharks and Titans. The Broncos Panthers 26 points. Hats off to the Panthers. They kept their opposition to a big donut, and to do that with some of the talent that the Broncos have got in their team. The Panthers, we'll get into that game shortly. The Warriors and the Roosters, there's 60 points.
Yep. Storm,
they put 52 on Parramatta. The points that are being scored at the moment is incredible. And Peter V'landys and Andrew Rabbitoh, they would love that. The entertainment side of our game is the celebration of tries and enjoying those moments, those line breaks, and bringing the stars into our game. So the game's in a healthy space. But the team that gets out there and puts a whole heap of energy and focus into their defence, the Penrith Panthers, they will be really hard to beat. So you can still defend well, even though the game is heading in a direction of an attacking style of game.
What about as far as the gone of the days of we're just going to tuck it under for 5 tackles and then kick when it is raining? It's just an observation that we saw yesterday. Just South looking so sharp from the outset, despite those inclement conditions.
Yeah, I think it puts more importance on your kicking game. Like your last play options in the wet are really important. Cody Walker kicked a 40-20 yesterday, and that's the first 40-20 of his career. I just think that the game's heading in a direction that you need to have the ability to move the football. You don't have to always move the football, and we look at the Broncos attack. Sometimes you can move the football too much, and if you don't have respect for the football and you make 18, 19 errors in the game, it's going to make it really hard on you. So it's a balance, and you've got to build that balance within your training. You've got to build that balance throughout your games, and that's what they're all looking for at the moment. In particular, the Broncos. The Broncos, have started their season really poorly. They went over to England, and the red hot favourites, to beat Hull KR. And they just didn't turn up in the first half. They didn't have the attitude and the mindset of what Hull KR did in the first half. They were looking to win pretty, and then in round one they just had no respect for the football. And when you play the Penrith Panthers, it's like looking in the mirror. They hold the mirror up to your game like no other team in the competition. They highlight your deficiencies. They highlight where your mentality is towards the tough part of the game, and they just hold you there. They've been the sleeping giants throughout the preseason. No one has been talking about the Panthers. They won 4 straight competitions. Then they had a poor start to the year last year, and they didn't get to the grand final. Everyone thought that they're falling off the cliff. It's time for the Panthers to not have success anymore. Well, unfortunately, all the experts aren't in control of that. The only people that are in control of that are the people out at Penrith, and Nathan Cleary. I think their young stars have had another year under their belt in the Penrith system. Blaise Talangi, Casey McLean's an extremely good player. Thomas Jenkins, who I thought he would have been disappointed last year when he got left out of the side towards the back end of the year. He had a great season last year, and he got an opportunity in round one, and he's taken it. I just think that they've just reminded everyone that, hey, we're still here. We're not going anywhere just yet.
In saying that, Billy, it's funny, isn't it? We're coming off a season where they didn't win a premiership, but it's the most settled off-season that they've had. You go back during their premiership run and everyone's saying, oh, they've lost Jerome Luai, they've lost James Fisher-Harris, they've lost Viliami Kikau, and they've lost Stephen Crichton, and amongst others. I've just named 4 or 5 there off the top of the head, but they haven't had that this year. It's probably the most settled progression from one season to another that Ivan's had at Penrith in a long time.
Yeah, the other thing that they haven't had is, like, I might be wrong here, but they haven't had too many highly publicised surgeries. Through that 4-year dynasty that they've won 4 competitions in a row, you could probably call it 5 years, because they made the grand final in 2020 as well. And I think Nathan Cleary had 2 shoulder reconstructions. So what that does is you've got to play with it and get through the season. He wins premierships with shoulders that need reconstructing, but then you have to get that surgery at the end of the year. That eats into your preseason. You basically can't train fully throughout the whole of the preseason. Now these guys, some of them went away on international tours and that sort of stuff, but they seem reasonably healthy. And when you're healthy through the preseason, we just talk about David Fifita and his ankle last year. He didn't get an opportunity to get fit. And this game is too hard to play when you're not fit. The Panthers look fit. And they understand their game. They know what they are. They know what their DNA is. They know what their identity is. And they go out there and apply pressure like no one else. And that's why I say they hold the mirror up to you and they show you where your deficiencies are. So the Broncos have a great opportunity here to play the Panthers in round 1. They didn't get it right. They've got a great opportunity to review this game and look at their deficiencies and where they need to improve. This is a marathon. It's a long race this season, and they've got plenty of time. But they need to be honest about where they think their game is at and where they need to get better.
Well, just on the Broncos, you last week on the podcast offered this warning to Brisbane.
If they don't have that real drive and hunger to go and find it and be willing to walk across the hard ground and get uncomfortable, well, they may not find it. And Penrith will ask them the question more than anyone. Penrith hold the mirror up to you like no other team does, because they put pressure on you and they hold that pressure on you until you find out what you're about.
And that's exactly how it played out.
Yeah, that's because I've been watching the Panthers for the last 6 years, and I know exactly what they're going to do. And the other thing is I've won premierships.
Yeah.
I've won premierships in the past, and I know what that does to you. I've lost premierships and I've won them, and I like when you win a premiership, it gives you 2 things. And I said this last week. It gives you confidence. It gives you confidence to believe in your game. But it also gives you complacency, and you have an opportunity to go either way, and you can go both ways really at different stages. But you get that comfort from winning a premiership at the same time as you get confidence. So if you're not willing to get away from that comfort, then it can be cruel to you. But if you're willing to get uncomfortable like you did to win that premiership and go after all those little things in your game that aren't necessarily easy, aren't necessarily shiny and exciting, then you can find yourself in a bit of a hole. And Brisbane have got the brilliant parts of their game. They've got the shiny stuff. They just need to find the hard parts of the game and be really excited and hungry to go after them, because that's what Penrith have done. Every season that Penrith have won a competition, the first couple of rounds, that's all I look for. Where are their hunger levels? And then I see Liam Martin coming out of the line and doing all these crazy things, and I'm like, the Panthers are still hungry. And I saw hunger levels at Suncorp Stadium on Friday night, but only from the team in pink.
Well, a couple of players to mention. Lindsay Smith in the middle, terrific. And Luke Garner, I know we were talking about him in commentary on Friday night. He was superb in the back row.
Yeah, they've done a great job with some of their, well, let's say lesser names. Like I'm sure they would be valued within the team. Lindsay Smith has got great skill. He's got incredible skill for a big man. He works really hard. He's got a great work ethic. I think he's a wonderful player. I think he can be a representative player of the future. Has he played for Australia yet? I think he may have went away on a tour.
He went on tour.
Well deserved too. I think he's a great. I think he was a fast bowler as well.
Oh, okay.
He was a cricketer growing up.
There you go.
So he's a very talented player. Got great skill, and with the likes of Fisher Harris moving on, he got an opportunity there with Moses Leota, and I think he's been in the Panthers system for a while now, and he's certainly contributing and becoming one of their senior players. Yeah,
he's played 2 games now for Australia. Has Lindsay Smith. He's still 26 years of age. So what a player he is, and what a team the Penrith Panthers are. All right, so much more to discuss after what was just a pulsating round of rugby league. We'll talk about the Golden Point game between Manly and Canberra in a new episode when it comes out on Tuesday afternoon.